I'm just out here recording and enjoying my day.
Hey, I'm having a conversation with him. Back off.
I don't have to back.
Off.
Hey,
I'm
don't
having a
touch me.
conversation with him.
I can
I
walk
am.
up and
No,
listen.
back over there.
Don't
Stay
touch me,
over
sir.
there.
What's your name? What's your name and badge number? Will I be arrested
Back
if I
off.
approach?
I will arrest you if you don't back off.
You will arrest me if I don't back off.
I'm having a conversation here. We're investigating if you're trespassing or not.
I'm allowed to stand right here and
Back off. I'm having a private conversation.
What's going on, guys? Ontario Audit, we are back, and I got a follow-up update for you guys. Not a good one, an unfortunate one, but we're going to go through it nonetheless. So we filed our Leca complaint shortly after our London police visit with Sergeant Devlin, the absolute tyrant. You guys won't believe, you probably will believe the results of this. Yeah, let's go through it. Let's put it up on screen here, go through everything that happened. There's more follow-ups, more complaints, lawsuit coming soon. I do not just do this just to do it. I am holding them accountable, and we're doing follow-ups and all that, man. Let's get into it. So here's a summary of the complaint. I'm not going to read the entire thing. I'm just going to go through key points. So we got Staff Sergeant Devlin told him to back off and push Mr. Hearn as he continued to approach, which is just not true. You know, I'm going to be playing the actual incident of what happened as I'm going along, as I'm talking. So as you can see here, I mean, that is just not true. Sergeant Devlin told him to back off and push Mr. Hearn back as he continued to approach. So they're saying I continued to approach him, which is just not true, man. So a police officer shall not use force unless the force is used for the purpose of carrying out a duty. There is no duty, there is no crime committed here. The officer is entitled by statute or common law to use force for the purpose of carrying out that duty. Again, there's no duty. The officer is acting on reasonable grounds. There's no reasonable grounds. The force used in no more than is necessary given the circumstances. Yeah, this is just, I mean, he clearly did not have the right to use force. I wasn't detained. I wasn't arrested. I was on the public sidewalk. I never threatened anybody. I wasn't trying to intimidate anybody. So here we've got Inspector Charlene Humble, a tyrant investigating her fellow tyrants. So let's go through key points here. Summary statement of witnesses. This is from me, James Hearn. Mr. Hearn told the officers that he was out enjoying his day and I was fine and didn't need any help. That's exactly what I said. So why didn't the whole entire interaction just end right there, guys? You know? I don't understand. So we're going to go through the statements of Maria Wright now. So 2C here, she says, the information caused her concern as part of her duties as a supervisor is to ensure safety and security of LPS property and our employees. In her experience, members of the public do not record police vehicles for a legitimate purpose, and the behavior is related to attempts to cause damage to police property or cause harm to police officers and their other employees. Now, I went through a whole bunch of research, I went through a whole bunch of research looking for any kind of police vehicle or police officers that were harmed while somebody was recording, or even just like damaging their cars in general at the station. I mean, it's never happened. There's no officers that have been harmed in any kind of similar situation. She's just completely making this up. We're going to skip over to J here. Sergeant Wright observed a male approach Staff Sergeant Devlin and Constable Hadgembes for a second time. And again, Staff Sergeant Devlin held his arm up to keep a safe distance between him and the male. So she's saying she held his arm up like a stiff arm. That is just not true. So Sergeant Wright advised the male, then stated Sergeant Devlin had assaulted him, in her opinion, was trying to instigate a confrontation and escalate the situation. So even if I was being confrontational and trying to quote unquote escalate the situation, it really gives him no right to put his hands on me while I'm on the public sidewalk. It's just, they're just trying to cover for their own, and this is getting really pathetic. We're going to go to skip to M here. Sergeant Wright believed the male was obstructing Staff Sergeant Devlin from conducting an investigation. So they're conducting an investigation on the sidewalk, and they expect complete privacy. There's no tape up. There's no crime that's been committed. This is just complete nonsense. Sergeant Wright believed the male's intention for being present at the police station was to attempt to agitate police and record his efforts for the public consumption or entertainment. Well, I mean, you guys know me. That's not why I'm there. If you've seen my videos, you've seen my video from Chatham, Kent Police Services, Coburg. I have great interactions. It's all up to how the officers approach me and how they act and treat the public. I am a member of the public. I'm a member of the community. Why are they always being so disrespectful just because I'm a member of the press? Wright also alleges that the male refused to provide his name, which they never once even asked me what my name was. In the following days, Wright learned the male had been identified by other officers and that he had created a YouTube video detailing their interaction. She viewed the video and found it was consistent with what had transpired. However, she noted the nature of the recording is only the view from the male's camera and does not accurately show the proximity or distance between the officers. We have two angles, one with the phone that is not really zoomed out too much, so it does give a little weird perception. But if you look at the body camera angle that I show at times, that gives a really good perception of how far away I am from them, and I'm not shoulder to shoulder as they allege here shortly. You guys will see. Sergeant Wright believes Staff Sergeant Devlin's actions were appropriate in the circumstance to prevent an assault, and the fact that the male had unexpectedly and quickly approached him did not allow for conversation to prevent the male from approaching. Sergeant Wright was aware of her duty to report misconduct, and at no point did she believe the event constituted excessive force, and that if she had, she would have reported the incident. Yeah, okay, Constable Wright. We're going to go through Michael Hadgembes' statement here. Not much to go through here. Now we're going to go through what happened with Staff Sergeant Paul Devlin himself wants to say here. So let's see what he has to say here in his statement. We'll go through some of it. He says, Staff Sergeant Devlin suspected the male identified as a sovereign citizen due to his previous dealings with the individuals, as well as police training videos which demonstrated the group's unpredictability, hostility, and violent behavior. So he's going into this with the idea that I'm a sovereign citizen and he's gonna, protect me. He's gonna protect his. So he's going into this whole interaction assuming that I'm a sovereign citizen. I wonder if he goes into every interaction like that. So Staff Sergeant Devlin, right off the jump, thinks that I'm a sovereign citizen, and this is how he's going to approach the situation. He's going to approach it like I'm not a regular member of the public or I'm not a member of the media. He's going to automatically assume and profile me and think that I'm a sovereign citizen, and he treats me as such, just straight disrespectful the whole time. No need for that. He could have took 5 steps onto the parking lot property. They would have been perfectly fine. He could have even said, "Hey man, you mind if we get a couple minutes here to have a conversation?" You'd be surprised. Like, if you just approach me with respect, how cooperative I can actually be. Let's go through some more here now. Constable Hadgembes approaches Staff Sergeant Devlin to speak to him about the situation and investigate whether an offense had been committed by the male, all while they're on the public sidewalk, thinking that they have privacy. Staff Sergeant Devlin extended his right arm to prevent the male from getting closer to them while telling him to back up. Extended his arm, guys, again with the stiff arm allegations. He described the male as angered by being touched. Well, of course. And he continued to try and move forward towards him and moved forward into Staff Sergeant Devlin's extended arm, which is just absolutely diabolical of him to write that. That is absurd. You guys are watching the video right now. You can see that has his arm out, puts it into my chest, and walks towards me and pushes me back. And at the ending, even gives me an extra little shove at the ending to make sure that he gets his point across, that he's a tyrant. Staff Sergeant Devlin advises he gently move the male back as he refused to back up. First of all, he didn't even give me a chance to back up. He pretty much just put his hands right on me, right into me, right off the bat. He said, "Back up," boom, put his hands on me.
Do I have to answer it? I'm just out here recording and enjoying my day.
Hey, I'm having a conversation with him. Back off.
I don't have to back.
Off.
Hey,
I'm
don't
having a
touch me.
conversation with him.
I can walk up and listen.
back over there
Don't
and
touch
stay
me,
over
sir.
there.
What's your name? What's your name and badge number? Will I be arrested if I approach?
I will arrest you if you don't back off.
You will arrest me if I don't back off.
I'm having a conversation here. We're investigating if you're trespassing or not.
I'm allowed to stand right here and
I'm having a private conversation.
That's twice you put your hands on me now.
He explains that in his experience as an emergency response unit member of 15 years of doing this to people, guys, as well as a use of force instructor. This guy is a use of force instructor, and he has been for the past 11 years. He had taught and practiced keeping individuals more than 4 to 5 feet away. Less than that distance does not allow for an appropriate reaction time in the event a person became violent. This tactic has prevented himself and other officers from being assaulted in past interactions. I highly doubt that, and this guy is absolutely unhinged and should not be teaching any kind of classes, let alone use of force class. This is just absurd. Staff Sergeant Devlin explained that as he stepped away, the male asked if he was under arrest, and he told him that he would be if he continued. Staff Sergeant Devlin explained that they were investigating whether the male had committed an offense, and that his hostile and antagonistic behavior was obstructing them in doing so. So it was my behavior that was obstructing them from doing their investigation, all while they're on the public sidewalk and no crime has been committed. They have no reasonable grounds, no reasonable cause for anything whatsoever. The male moved towards Staff Sergeant Devlin again and again was instructed to move back. He advised that the male became angrier and more aggressive and stated that he wasn't allowed to touch him. That's what I said. You're not allowed to touch me. So we go into more of Staff Sergeant Devlin's statements here. Staff Sergeant Devlin explained that he attempted to limit the interaction with the male as he believed he may identify as a sovereign citizen. Here we go again with that. From his experience with these individuals, these individuals can be difficult to deal with and will test the boundaries of what they consider their rights are. As such, he did not engage in conversation regarding grounds for arrest or the justification of putting his arm out to prevent him from getting close to them while they were speaking and moving back. So putting his arm out to prevent me, not putting his arm out to push me, which he clearly did push me. They just don't admit it in here, not once. It's actually pretty sad. Staff Sergeant Devlin and Constable Hadgembes determined that the male had not committed a crime. Staff Sergeant Devlin and Constable Hadgembes determined that the male had not committed a criminal offense and he was on public property. Wow, who would have thought? The male refused to provide his name during the interaction. They never asked me my name. I wouldn't have given it to them anyway, but they're just lying all over the place here. He was left with a warning that he would be arrested in the event he entered London Police Service property, as there are trespassing signs that are clearly visible that state you cannot use recording devices while on London Police Service's property. Guys, listen to this one. This one's crazy. Staff Sergeant Devlin further advised that an email was sent out to all London Police Services users regarding a male who had recently attended other police services in southwestern Ontario, recording interaction and attempting to bait officers into a confrontation. The male was identified as a complainant, Mr. Hearn. Well, guys, in southwestern Ontario, on my journey there, I'll just show you guys here quickly. We went to Chatham, Kent. We had great officers there, great interaction there. How come you guys weren't the same, London? Why didn't you guys come out and approach me like those guys did? Why'd you have to put your hands on me and assault me? Shout out to Chatham, Kent officers. They did great that day. You guys are just pathetic tyrants. Anyways, so now we get into the YouTube synopsis of what happened. Okay, so they reviewed my YouTube video and they made a synopsis based off that. Let's go. So the video moves to King Street and a gray pickup. Let's skip here. Let's get here. Mr. Hearn pauses the video and makes the following statement. What's going on, guys? Before we get into the video, I just wanted to let you know that I switched my style up a little bit in this video based off the tips I received about the London police. They're not too friendly. They're full of tyrannies. So if you are wondering why I was a little more standoffish in this video, that's the reason, and you'll see why else in a minute. Well, the why else was like I got assaulted, so I was a little more standoffish after that, and they used that as like saying that I was being confrontational and trying to escalate the situation. I'm a sovereign citizen, and just a bunch of bullshit, man. Mr. Hearn approaches him from behind PC Hadgembes. Mr. Hearn is nearly shoulder to shoulder with PC Hadgembes when Sergeant Devlin approached Mr. Hearn and states, "I'm having a conversation with him. Back off." Mr. Hearn stated, "I don't have to back off." Staff Sergeant Devlin walked towards Mr. Hearn and pushed him back with his hand and explained he was trying to have a conversation with PC Hadgembes. You can't make this up, man. There's video evidence of this. These guys, I don't understand. Staff Sergeant Devlin walks away while Mr. Hearn asks what his name and badge number is and if he will be arrested if he approaches him again. So I'm not gonna read the whole entire thing. You guys can pause and, at the end of the video, I'll leave all the pages there if you guys want to read the entire thing. We're just gonna go through some key points again. Mr. Hearn calls Staff Sergeant Devlin a coward multiple times and makes comments regarding Staff Sergeant Devlin having putting his hands on him. Staff Sergeant Devlin explains that he was trying to have a private conversation multiple times when Mr. Hearn cuts him off. Yes, you're on the public sidewalk. Staff Sergeant Devlin tells Mr. Hearn that he will be arrested if he enters LPS property. So they're like just trespassing me even if I didn't have my video recorder. All officers returned to their vehicles, and Mr. Hearn again approached PC Hadgembes and asked him the same questions repeatedly, making comments with an antagonistic tone. Well, maybe because I was just assaulted like 5 minutes prior, maybe that's why I'm a little, asking him, "Hey man, what's going on? Why are you guys touching me?" Mr. Hearn returns the following night and records the rear of the LPS headquarters again and zoomed in on the building windows. He advised he was there for an hour and did not have any interaction with LPS officers. Now we turn to the analysis of Inspector Charlene Humble, badge number 320317. Okay? This is her analysis. "I will now turn my investigation to whether the actions of Staff Sergeant Devlin rise to the level of misconduct is set out in Community Safety and Policing Act." I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but okay. "In the province of Ontario, police officers are bound by their duty to preserve the peace, prevent crimes and other offences, and performing duties assigned by legislation, procedure, code of conduct, and common law. The officers involved became aware of a male standing at the entrance of the London Police Headquarters who appeared to be recording personnel, vehicles, and London police property using 2 different cameras. The behavior was unusual, especially given the location and unclear purpose. Constable Hadgembes, Staff Sergeant Devlin, and Sergeant Wright were on duty as members of the London Police Services, directly observed this atypical behavior and were seized at the time by their duty to investigate. The evidence in this matter demonstrates Mr. Hearn's effort to initiate a confrontation with LPS officers. He explained his intention in the YouTube video he recorded as he approached LPS headquarters prior to the interaction with the officers. He stated that he had received multiple tips that they're not too friendly and see if they respect our rights. He then views a no trespassing sign in the rear of the LPS headquarters and explains in the video that he perceives this as LPS having no accountability and transparency. Yeah, that's correct. Prior to his conversation with PC Hadgembes, Mr. Hearn paused the video to explain the following to his viewers. What's going on, guys? I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but I say I'm a little more standoffish than usual, and you'll see the reason why in a minute. And you'll see why. I was assaulted. It doesn't really matter if I was standoffish or antagonistic at all. It's their job to de-escalate, right? Why are they putting their hands on me? It doesn't make any sense. Mr. Hearn refused to give them space as Staff Sergeant Devlin told him to back off and pushes him back with one hand, which created some distance. Mr. Hearn approached them again and Staff Sergeant Devlin stated the following. So Staff Sergeant Devlin alleges that he didn't push me, but in the analysis, she confirms that he did push me to create some distance. Mr. Hearn approaches them again and Staff Sergeant Devlin states the following clearly to Mr. Hearn. "I will arrest you if you don't back off. We're having a conversation here. We are investigating if you were trespassing or not. And back off, we are having a private conversation." The Criminal Code of Canada sets out offenses relating to public or peace officers in Section 129. Everyone who resists or willfully obstructs a public officer or peace officer in the execution of his duty or any person lawfully acting in aid of such an officer. I did not resist. I did not willfully obstruct. I didn't obstruct. I'm literally on the public sidewalk. I simply could have been walking along the sidewalk. I didn't even stop in place. I walked. As I'm still moving, he approaches me. I could have been walking across the sidewalk to the other side of the gate. So yeah, let's keep going. She even admits here they are all on the public sidewalk at this time. However, the officers walk further east on the sidewalk to create distance and continue their investigation. Ma'am, they are still on the sidewalk. Sergeant Wright believes Staff Sergeant Devlin's actions were appropriate in the circumstance to prevent an assault. Yeah, anyways, guys, this is getting ridiculous. I will now review case law that relates to police use of force during arrests. A leading decision on use of force by police in the Supreme Court of Canada decision in R.V. Nasagaluak. A leading decision on use of force by police is the Supreme Court of Canada's decision in R.V. Nasagaluak. In this case, the court ruled that the legal constraints on a police officer for use of force are enshrined in the Criminal Code of Canada, specifically Section 25 of the code. Now, guys, let's take a quick minute here to go over what this case law is. So this case was a gentleman who led RCMP officers in Alberta on a high-speed chase while he's intoxicated. When he came to a stop, he refused to leave the vehicle. Police forcibly removed him, punched him 3 times in the head and twice in the back, breaking his ribs and causing a collapsed lung. Officers failed to report the use of force or provide medical assistance, despite Nasagaluak visibly suffering. And the judge goes on in that case to explain use of force. And she uses this case law for this situation, which is just baffling to me. Well, at times the police may have to resort to force in order to complete an arrest or prevent an offender from escaping police custody. The allowable degree of force to be used remains constrained by the principles proportionality, necessity, and reasonableness. The legal constraints on a police officer's use of force are deeply rooted in the common law tradition and are enshrined in the criminal code. Section 25(1) essentially provides that a police officer is justified in using force to effect a lawful arrest, provided that he or she acted on reasonable and probable grounds and used only as much force as is necessary in the circumstance. Well, they weren't effecting a lawful arrest. I wasn't even detained, so I don't know why that's even there. She also says, regarding the application of use of force when measured against the standards set out in Section 25 of the Criminal Code, the Supreme Court of Canada went on further in R.V. Nasagaluak to state, police action should not be judged against a standard of perfection. It must be remembered that the police engage in dangerous, demanding work and often have to quickly react to emergencies. In determining whether the amount of force used by the officer was necessary, the jury must have regard to the circumstances as they existed at the time the force was used. So let's go on down here. A police officer shall not be subject to discipline for a contravention or subsection if the officer demonstrates on a balance of probabilities that their conduct was in good faith performance of their duties, no, and consistent with their training and any applicable procedures established by their chief of police. So guys, this is why everybody says it starts from the top. Right? If the top is a tyrant, everybody under them is going to be a tyrant. I just can't believe this one. And consistent with their training and any applicable procedures established by their chief of police. So if the chief of police teaches them some dumb stuff and teaches them to go out and violate people's rights, you're telling me they can't be subject to discipline because their chief taught them that? And that's why it starts from the top, guys. That's why we got to hold all these guys from the top. Who's the chief of police of London? Well, I can tell you right now, the Chief of Police of London is Tai Truong. So this is Tai Truong right here, guys, who has his tyrant officers back. He'll protect them no matter what they do. He's got their back. He's going to teach them how to be a tyrant. Just look at this guy. Absolutely pathetic, Tai. What are you doing, Tai? Teach your officers some respect. Based on the totality of evidence, I submit Mr. Hearn. Okay, guys. You guys are not even ready for this one. Listen to this. Based on the totality of the evidence, I submit that Mr. Hearn willfully obstructed a peace officer in the execution of his duties. Guys, so what this lady's saying, Charlene Humble, she's saying right now that I could have actually been placed in cuffs and been charged for being there on the public sidewalk and recording Canadian police officers. Which is absolutely insane that she would say that. It just shows you that the whole entire London police services is most likely all of them are all tyrants. 99% of them, 100% of them. This is just unreal. So let's go through what she says here, though. Staff Sergeant Devlin had a duty to investigate Mr. Hearn's action based off the concerns of Constable Hadgembes and his own observations. While he attempted to have a conversation with Constable Hadgembes, Mr. Hearn refused to provide them space, which not only interfered with their duty to investigate, but also raised officer safety concerns. Staff Sergeant Devlin was lawfully positioned in the execution of his duties, and the force used was reasonable under the circumstances. As such, I find Staff Sergeant Devlin's response to Mr. Hearn's actions are justified when measures against his standards under the Ontario Use of Force Model, the Police Standards Manual of Ontario, and the Criminal Code. Mr. Hearn was not arrested during this interaction. However, I further submit that the level of force used by Staff Sergeant Devlin was lawful and authorized by Section 25 of the Criminal Code of Canada, and it was reasonable and necessary to safely investigate the actions of Mr. Hearn to determine if the offense had been committed. Sure, you could have investigated to see if the offense has been committed, but you had no right to put your hands on me. You have no right to have your private space on a public sidewalk when there's no crime that's been committed anywhere around. There's no tape up anywhere. You can't just say, hey, we own this sidewalk right now. We're having a conversation. You need to get away from here. And if you don't, I'm going to push you away or I'm going to arrest you. It just doesn't work like that. This is Canada, people. This is Canada. And I'm tired of the tyrants. I'm tired of everyone just taking and sitting down. Everyone needs to start filing complaints, man. I am satisfied that Staff Sergeant Devlin performed his duties in good faith and that he appropriately considered the force used in this situation in accordance with his training pursuant to the Ontario Public Interactions Training Aid 2003, LPS procedure governing use of force, and his legal authority to use force under Section 25 of the Criminal Code. Conclusion? Drum roll, you guys ready? Based on the evidence obtained during the investigation and the analysis outlined above, the investigation resulted in the following findings regarding Staff Sergeant Devlin's conduct. It is alleged that Staff Sergeant Devlin used unnecessary force during the interaction with Mr. Hearn on August 19, 2024. This allegation is unsubstantiated, submitted by Charlene Humble, Inspector, Professional Standards Branch at the London Police Services. Oh, and just to inform you guys, just so you know, Staff Sergeant Paul James Devlin of the City of London Police Services made $194,368 last year. Just thought you guys would find that a little interesting. Yeah, you guys want to know what I also found crazy about this one is if you guys remember in Halton Region, I was assaulted by Constable Spina. If you guys remember that one in Halton Region.
When I'm at the McDonald's picking up my daughter from work, so why are you videotaping me? Hey, why are you videotaping me?
Hey, don't touch my shit, buddy.
Don't videotape me.
You can't do that, man. Don't break my stuff.
I'm not breaking anything.
Give me my phone back, man.
No. Don't videotape me.
Okay.
I'm in front of... Yeah, I'll wait for the police. Don't worry.
Yeah, we will, and you'll be charged with assault, brother.
Well, I've got a Leca complaint back on that one, and 3 complaints that I made against him were substantiated. Update coming soon. I'm going to show you guys that one soon, but just to give you an idea, 3 allegations against him, all of them were substantiated. He was docked 36 hours pay. He did get disciplined, and guess what, guys? That took 7 pages. 7 pages for 3 substantiated claims. Now guess how many pages this one is for 1 claim. This is, I believe, guess how many pages the London Police gave for 1 claim. They did all they could to investigate their own and find no wrongdoing. They 17 pages. 17 pages, guys. Well, I'll let you guys know what happens with their Leca review. I don't expect much, but I hope that they look at this and like the Leca complaint. So Leca is the one who approved the complaint. If you've seen my last video, Leca actually denied sending them the complaint. This time Leca approved the complaint and sent it to London for them to investigate themselves. This was the result. So I've reviewed it with Leca. Leca's going to review this and see if this is all good or not. I've made my claim of why it's not, and I'll keep you guys updated. But yeah, 17 pages, one claim. They're trying their absolute best to protect their own, and it's pathetic. So I wanted to give you guys a little challenge here to end the video. I want you to pretend that you are Inspector Charlene Humble, except you're not a tyranny and you actually care about police transparency and accountability. I want to see what you guys think. Go watch the London video. It's linked down below. I want you guys to do your own little investigation. Tell me if the claim of use of force is substantiated or unsubstantiated. And my claim is substantiated. He clearly did not have any reason to use of force on me. It was completely unnecessary and unprofessional. So yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. Watch that London video and comment substantiated or unsubstantiated. Make sure to like button, subscribe button. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this one. Shame on Tai Truong, the Chief of Police for the London Police Services. Also, shame on Inspector Charlene Humble, badge number 320317. Shame on Staff Sergeant Maria Wright. Constable Michael Hadgembes, Staff Sergeant Paul Devlin. You guys are all tyrants, all working together. We investigated ourselves and we found nothing wrong. Absolutely pathetic. Keep in mind, guys, that Staff Sergeant Devlin trains in use of force. He's actually the teacher. He's been teaching the other London police for 11 years how to use of force. So if you've been assaulted by London police, you can blame Staff Sergeant Devlin. He's the one teaching everybody to do it. And you know what? It comes from the top. Tai Truong. You tyrant. Hold your officers accountable, man. But yeah, I'm getting out of here. Tai Truong, you were a tyrant. Inspector Charlene Humble, Constable Michael Hadgembes, Staff Sergeant Maria Wright, Staff Sergeant Paul Devlin. Y'all a bunch of tyrants, man. I can't believe this is the result of your complaint. I have actually submitted a Leca review to Leca so they can review this. I don't expect much. You send a complaint to Leca, they send it back to the police station that you complained about. It's absolutely pathetic. Is they just investigate themselves. I thought it was going to be like Leca, would investigate and it would be completely different than OIPRD. It's pretty much the exact same thing. We have a flawed system in Canada. We need an independent agency to look out and review police misconduct, because Tai Truong is protecting his own. And there's really nothing we can do about that, guys. Yeah. I promise that I will always file complaints and always follow up when I can and when I'm able to. And thank you guys for all the love. If you've made it this far, hit the like button, subscribe button. Traveling across Canada soon. I'll see you guys very shortly. I'll be on the road. New videos coming soon. Peace and love. Ontario Audit. Later, man.